Don't you think they're a little low class?
Friendship has to be linked with status, and so does family.
Stay far, far away.
Colonel, I will stop trying to help you.
I don't want you to forget your true family.
May I remind you that you have no estate. You have no wealth of your own. You are dependent on me. So what are you going to do?
Off camera, we have already done the collaboration and backstory phases. We chose to play a romantic comedy with some historical accuracy and historical gender norms. We have also created our characters and generated our supporting cast. We hope you enjoy this live play.
Hi, I'm Veronica from Storybrewers, and I'm playing Miss Louisa Allen. I'm a 22-year-old, and life has not been always so peachy for me. Coming from humble origins, my father was a horse master in one of the bigger households. So I've grown up living in someone else's household, namely my best friend, Lady Lydia Cromwell. She wasn't always a lady. And when Lydia went to finishing school in Oxford, I was very lonely, and I had to weather the long illness of Lydia's parents, after which, of course, she became Lady Lydia Cromwell when they passed on. As a child, our family was in the service and employ of the Rutherfords, Miss Catherine Rutherford being the head of the household at the time. I got to know her as a child, but have since gone out of touch with that family.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm playing Lady Lydia Cromwell. I've just recently returned from finishing school and have reunited with my childhood best friend, Miss Louisa Allen. My household is currently run by my uncle, Lord Gregory Cromwell, and he is just a really nice guy. He's a really nice man.
So when did you come back from finishing school?
Probably in about the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been just recent. So I'm still getting used to how the town I grew up in has changed since I've been away.
Wait, how long ago was it that your parents died?
My parents died about 1.5 years ago, and that's when my uncle came by to begin running the household.
Hi, I'm Cloud. I'm a guest, not part of Storybrewer. So I will be playing Miss Catherine Rutherford. My husband passed away a few years ago. I hope my dear Alfred rests well in heaven. I have a considerable amount of fortune on my hands. A lot. I even have a country estate that I frequently invite guests over to. Through my long years, I have met many and I have experienced much, and those experiences have left me somewhat embittered. I have many enemies through the years, many people who have used me, but also I have many friends.
Awesome. And Lee Dashing Captain Frederick Crawford?
Hello, my name is Kaylin, and I'm going to be playing the aforementioned dashing Captain Frederick Crawford. I'm a military man who grew up in this town and in fact was childhood friends with Catherine Rutherford's son, which is how I got to know the delightful Catherine over the years. We actually became closer friends as time went on because I felt we related on an interpersonal level better than I did with her son. I've been quite successful in the military, evident by the fact that I am now a captain. I know that doing well in the military is a good way to actually climb in society. Not that that is what I want to do, it's just a pleasant side effect.
Sure. Excellent. And I'm Hayley from Storybrewers, and I will be the facilitator in this game. And as the facilitator, my job isn't so much to drive the story like a traditional GM. I'm more here to help everybody collaborate to create this exciting Austen novel. So welcome to Good Society, the Jane Austen role-playing game. So we're starting the game with a ball in honour of the homecoming of Lady Lydia Cromwell, recently returned from finishing school. The person organising the ball is Lord Gregory Cromwell, uncle of Lady Lydia Cromwell, who's being played by Claude. Because in this game, players also take the role of one connection so that they can have a chance to add a bit more drama to the story. What kind of ball has he organised?
It's a really grand ball. He's invited all families of repute from the area to come attend. He's running around a lot trying to organise everyone, and it's a very hands-on kind of process.
Is it a bit odd, perhaps, that my uncle has invited Miss Rutherford, considering our family's history? Is that something that my uncle would be aware of?
When I was younger, I had been betrothed to Lady Cromwell's father.
I feel like he's maybe an out-of-towner.
Ah, so he doesn't know.
He had an affair with another woman, and she had fallen pregnant. So to take responsibility for that, he broke our engagement, took my engagement ring, and gifted it to the woman who was to be Lady Lydia Cromwell's mother. And I feel like also the Rutherfords are so of repute. They have so much money and prestige behind them. They have a long line that it doesn't.
It'd be too obvious if you did disinvite.
It would have
them.
been a scandal.
So Lord Gregory Cromwell has sort of come into the estate after Lydia's parents passed away and found like Miss Allen, who's like the child of the horsemaster, sort of basically living in the estate as if she were the sister of Lydia Cromwell.
That's improper.
Cousin. Oh, some.
Yeah,
thing.
but like, you know, my parents sort of
It's
adopted
true.
you a little bit when I was away. You like took care of them.
So it is the morning of the ball, and
Already getting ready.
preparations are underway in the
Brushing
Cromwell
hair.
household.
I think you should wear this one.
You don't think that that's a little too frilly?
Frills are in fashion.
Oh,
Okay,
Whatever
if
you
you don't
think
like
it
that, what
goes.
about the blue one then?
okay. I mean, blue goes with my hair.
Yes, absolutely. Excellent. So you'll be wearing the blue one. I'll wear the green one. Oh no, then we'll clash.
Lydia, isn't this too trivial? We haven't caught up in years.
That's what we're doing right now.
Not about dresses or the latest fashion. I mean, what are your intentions for the new year?
Well, I think it's reasonable to say that I intend to be married.
Do you have your eye on a specific person?
I don't really know anyone. Can you think of any eligible bachelors?
Well, there are a couple of redcoats in town at the moment. You could try and strike a conversation tonight with some of them.
Don't you think they're a little low class? She
Sorry,
says to the horse master.
Perhaps your tastes have changed since I've last had this conversation with you.
Let's cross to the Rutherford household.
My protege, Mary Birmingham,
Right.
has come to our household to prepare, and we will be leaving together.
Excellent. So I imagine the conversation to be something like, "Oh, Mrs. Rutherford, that dress suits you so finely."
Oh, stop, Mary.
How can I stop when I see how perfectly it brings out that youthful glow in you? You would hardly know you were more than 10 and 50.
Mary Birmingham is not a very intelligent girl.
You flatter me too much. And you, my darling, you look just like my daughter when she was younger.
That is high praise, for all your children have your fine countenance.
And striking jawline.
But I am so excited for the ball this evening.
Yes, there are many young eligible bachelors attending tonight, are there not?
Would you consider there are any worthy of my interests? Not that I should wish to desert you for any such creature.
I hear that there are a few redcoats in town at the moment. I can introduce you to some.
Oh, that is the greatest kindness as always, Mrs. Rutherford. Here, shall I help you with that?
Thank you, darling.
Let's cut over to Captain Crawford. What are you doing right before the ball begins?
Please, I'm already ready. I just have to arrive about 17 and a half minutes after it actually starts and everyone is going in, because then there'll be still people paying attention to the door, but not so many people that when I stride in my striking red coat, all eyes will be on me.
And will you be accompanied by anybody this evening?
I am going to be accompanied by both my colonel and my lieutenant. We're all going there to see if there is anyone worth dancing with.
Any eligible bachelorettes?
No, anyone
Worth
went down.
Oh. Do we want to introduce the other military people? Like,
Yeah.
do we want to do like a little military scene?
Yes, let's do that. That would be very funny.
Okay. I'm also playing the Lieutenant Jonathan Casper, who also happens to be Miss Louisa Allen's cousin.
I'm Colonel Thorpe. Military extraordinaire. And, father to these two lots.
Wait, father?
Father?
You're unmarried.
I mean, father as in...
Father figure.
Father figure.
Father figure. We've all heard you
Colonel.
accidentally call the Colonel Daddy.
So what's the conversation like before the ball begins?
This is such a waste of time.
Please, Jonathan. I mean, you may be married, but the rest of us aren't.
Quite
Well,
frankly, I think it's astonishing you're not already.
Well, thank you for the vote of confidence. I mean, a battle is one thing. The battle of the hearts is another. Say, how did you do it, John?
Well, it was just one quick jab.
Aha! So it is like a battle.
Yes, you pick someone, and then it is done.
Colonel,
Frederick.
if I can give you some advice tonight,
My advice was fine.
be less forthcoming with your words and more forthcoming with your smiles. You may not be aware of this, but you do have a striking countenance that all of the ladies will swoon over. But blunt words are not the way to win a fair maiden's heart.
Oh dear.
I think like while this is happening, we've cut to the scene where you're all in the carriage on the way to the ball. And
Yeah.
I see.
Why,
Hold on.
Freddie? I feel like you're going to break out a book of poetry at any moment.
Freddie, what's that in your coat?
Somebody better describe what the ball looks like.
Sure.
The duty falls to you.
I know.
Lady Lydia
Because I
Cromwell.
opened my mouth.
Yes.
So naturally, when you first walk into the doors of the Cromwell house, there's a grand staircase leading upwards, and then directly to the right is the dedicated ballroom itself. So the ballroom itself is decorated sort of modestly. My uncle isn't probably the most fashionable man.
The classics.
So, you know, some like tasteful garlands. There are footmen carrying around platters of drinks. There's a small table of jellies. I've seen larger tables of jellies.
Is that a hint of disappointment?
You know, I just think it's a little frugal. We can be a little bit more generous with the jelly, I think.
Excellent.
How does that sound?
That is a great
Beautiful.
description.
Does everyone understand the positioning of everything?
Where is my dry erasable map?
So I think because it is obviously Lydia's kind of homecoming ball, she would be positioned like as people are coming in through the doors of the house
Yeah.
to, you know,
To
be
greet
like,
people.
"Hello, it is I, Lady Lydia Cromwell."
You may not recognize me.
No, because I have gotten older and more beautiful. Lydia's naturally have like latched onto Louisa, like by my side,
I don't think I should be here for the greetings.
but I don't know who anyone is.
I suppose that's right.
But, like, would you be a bit miffed that I possibly had asked Louisa to stand at the door with me rather than you? The, like...
Very, very disappointed in you.
thoughtless.
So you're probably like hanging around like not too far away.
Yeah, giving you the stink eye.
So who's the first person to enter?
I mean, it's not me.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so
It's
some
clearly
notable people
people
in
from
town.
Hampshire start filtering.
There's
in.
nobody too interesting just yet. I'm already kind of growing a little bit tired of this like.
Oh, Lady Cromwell, I haven't seen you since you were, well, you would have been 12 or was it 13?
Indeed.
And why you were so much
Who
shorter
is
there,
this
but you've
woman again?
grown quite taller, and I
This is
don't know who
Lady-
you are at all, my dear. But you seem like a nice sort of
Amber.
person. And the servant stands up and is like, Colonel Thorpe, Captain Crawford, and a Lieutenant Caspar.
I suppose these are the redcoats you mentioned.
Yes, I need my cousin,
Oh, I remember your
Lieutenant
cousin.
Caspar, gave word that he was coming with his senior officers.
They are quite handsome. You weren't wrong about that.
Yes.
And then they enter.
Good evening and welcome.
Thank you very much, Lady Cromwell. I must say, Hampshire has been all the worse for your absence.
That's very kind of you to say. I feel that much has changed, and yet very little has changed.
As is the nature of time.
Indeed.
Indeed. I hope your time here is as beautiful as you.
Oh! Write that one down.
I came back to find my fortune. And the fastest way for a military gent to find his fortune is with a wedding.
We might have a little bit of trouble here doing kind of Louisa and Jonathan and myself, seeing as
We are all.
we all play those characters.
That's okay. I can also step in. The same character can be played by multiple people as required in this game. As a facilitator, I can also play connections that are played by you. So if you wanted to have a conversation with Jonathan Caspar, or if you wanted to have a conversation with Jonathan Thorpe.
Yeah.
Could we perhaps be introduced to both the Jonathans? Could you play two Jonathans at once?
Yes, of course I can play two Jonathans at once, naturally. Oh, Lady Cromwell, the meeting is good. Yes, yes. And you must be another lady. Yes.
Yes, my name's Miss Louisa Allen.
Miss Allen, this is a
Nice
pleasure
to
to
meet
meet you. The striking jawline.
I'm blown away by what's happening right now. There are like little stars in my eyes.
And Colonel Thorpe looks over and is like, am I doing it?
You're certainly doing something, sir.
You won't know that was to Captain Crawford. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Lovely to meet you, ladies. Wow, this ballroom looks quite excellent. Yes.
Thank you for always taking good care of my cousin.
Oh, you mean Jonathan?
That's
well,
right.
he's practically me, for we share a name. Yes.
That is, I believe, how it works.
So you are his cousin, say?
That's right.
You must be. Miss Allen. You presently introduced yourself, didn't you?
That's right.
So I was already aware of that, wasn't I?
You-
Well, you ladies have a lovely evening, and should you feel the need for dancing, I'm sure Miss Captain Crawford would oblige you.
Come along.
Okay. I think you can probably play Jonathan for the conversation with Miss Allen if
okay.
you wanted to do that.
Cousin, if you have a few moments, could we have a conversation by the jelly table, perhaps?
I believe the jelly table is quite a public area, perhaps on the opposite side of the
Well, we
ballroom to the jelly table.
That might
I
be
believe
a
that
better
to be a
option.
strategically quiet place.
Next to the jelly table. Yes, and then after I tell her that, what should I tell her?
What you want to do is listen to what the lady says
Yes,
and
listen.
gently, non-committally agree.
So it was about your last letter to me.
So you have been receiving them because you haven't been replying.
I mean, it's been very busy in this household, as you can see.
Yes. Yes, and I do wonder exactly what your role in this household is.
I mean, I've been living here since I was 8 years old, John. And and Lydia's just come back. It's very, very crucial for my happiness that we have a chance to get to know each other again as full-grown adults, as I want to say ladies, but that's not what I am.
Yes. Louisa, Are you a member of this family or a member of its staff?
I am a member of the family of this household. I have my own room, cousin. I have my own room. Not in the servants' quarters. Don't look at me like that.
I don't want you to forget your true family and that you always have a place with us.
I know that. It's just temporary, just for a couple more months as we settle into getting Lydia safe home, and then we can talk about what you wrote in your letter.
Mrs. Rutherford and Miss Birmingham.
Oh, Mary! Wow, it's such a pleasure to see you again, even though it has literally only been 2 weeks since our graduation from finishing school together.
Yes, I neglected to mention that I was at finishing school with Lady Cromwell.
How are you,
Mrs. Rutherford.
Oh, Lady Lydia.
You are practically glowing this evening.
Oh, you flatter me too much.
Not enough, I think.
And you look quite dashing in that green dress of yours.
I think it brings out the eyes that I also share the colour of with my mother.
Yes. Well, we better be on our way. Come, Mary.
Yes, we better be on our way.
Let's
Lady
catch
Cromwell.
up soon. And
perhaps.
us too, Miss Rutherford.
Yes, we certainly will.
Is it just me or is that woman glaring daggers at me?
Good.
Mrs. Rutherford, it has been an age.
Captain Crawford, it has been a while.
And who is your darling companion?
This is Miss Mary Birmingham. She is somewhat of my... she is
A dear friend
a dear friend of mine.
Mrs. Rutherford.
Ms. Birmingham.
Why,
It
yes.
can't be. How could someone with your countenance as of yet be unmarried? Mrs. Rutherford, It has been so long. I must simply ask how things are. How are your children?
Jane recently got married, and now both of my children have moved away.
That must be incredibly lonely for you.
It has been, but Mary here has been keeping me company. Oh, God.
We have a little bit of time before the dancing starts. If you wanted to discuss anything, if there's any information about your children that would be pertinent,
God, what is going on?
I do miss your son quite dreadfully.
Well, I do believe he will be visiting us soon, so you should definitely come visit our estate sometime.
It would be an honor.
I think what would happen is I would find Louisa again and
Yes.
I would say, "Oh, the intolerable Mrs. Rutherford has arrived." I can't imagine why my uncle invites her to these things.
Well, she does have the second largest income in town.
Yes, second.
So in an appropriate moment, I'll say, "Can I have a word with you?"
Oh, of course. I will be back.
I want to enter as you guys are finishing up, and-
Right.
so that I can look both these people in the
Oh,
eye
I see. Yes.
as I pull you away for a moment.
Mm.
It's like I trust I'm not interrupting,
Oh, we were just finishing up.
Miss Rutherford, Miss
Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Oh, and
Sorry, you've been away for so long.
Forgotten your name as well. She actually knows your name. Oh, but I've forgotten your name as well. I'm sorry.
It's
I'm very
Alan.
sorry.
Miss Allen.
Oh, well, of course.
Mary, you're looking radiant.
Oh,
As-
well.
And what business do you have, Miss Allen?
I just was pulling away, Captain. This the captain. I don't think I caught your name last time we met.
Frederick Crawford.
Frederick Crawford. Well, lovely to meet you. My name is Louisa Allen.
Flashback to the horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you do the flashback to the horses first?
Yes.
And then I'll continue.
So badly want this to happen.
Another thing you can do in this game is flashbacks.
That's right. So we met once before, picking my way through the woods on a beautiful autumn afternoon. I think it's spring now, so this was like 2 seasons ago.
Wow.
And the light was filtering gently through the leaves. And my horse was the most beautiful mare in the stables at the time. A coppery brown like the autumn leaves scattered along the floor. We can keep going on.
I can tell. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, when sound of crunching leaves behind me. Do you want to describe your horse?
What has this game become?
17 hands tall, black and white, piebald stallion.
Were you struck by something about its appearance?
Yes, the horse was the most beautiful things I've seen, and it looked so uncomfortable under the weight of...
Sidebar, 17 and a half hands is very tall.
Yes, under the weight of the man atop its back, seemed to be laden with far too many weapons, sword, medals, etc.
The horse also had some medals
Yeah.
as well as the man riding
That's
the
right.
horse.
Right, so am I to take it that Captain Crawford was riding in full military regalia?
I
Of
think he was
course.
practicing.
I was scouting. Excuse me, miss. I know this may be a little forward or untoward of me, but your form on that horse is spectacular.
That is a little bit forward.
Just the way you ride is how you've clearly been riding since
Clearly.
your childhood.
That is very observant of you, sir, but surprising since you even observed the fact that your horse is clearly struggling with that particular saddle. It's not good for his left leg. I will turn my horse around so I'm like in front of your one and like give it a little pat.
Aw.
A working one, I guess.
Yes.
Well,
A military horse. Stallion.
I suppose.
Named Stallion. In fact, Stallion was responsible for saving my life. That injury to Stallion's leg was meant for me, but it was in the last moment that I ducked down and the bullet actually lodged itself. You can see here where the scar is. I oughtn't be alive.
Huh. Do the military always put their horse in the front line?
Well, I was...
From what I've heard, a stallion like this, worth so many pounds, wouldn't be necessarily in the front lines. Were you out of place?
I was scouting. But I admit the stallion's role in the scouting may have been more improvised.
He needs to take care of his stallion much better. His stallion is too good for him. Okay, sir. I understand, and this horse does seem to like you. But think about its feelings once in a while.
Of course. Stallion.
It's an odd name.
That's what you say as you ride off.
Cool. So we flash back to the present.
Miss Allen, what brings you here?
Here, in front of you specifically?
Yes.
I've got a favour to ask. You understand that this ball is for the homecoming of my friend, Lady Lydia Cromwell.
Of course.
Obviously, that means you should ask her for a dance. Give her the reception she deserves.
I am willing to put myself out like that.
Alright.
I don't...
Oh, you don't need one.
I don't need a token for that.
Okay.
I think that's...
That's...
I will save that token for you renaming your horse.
Can I use the token to try and get Jonathan to compete for Lydia's first dance?
Which Jonathan?
Thorpe.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you certainly can.
Yeah.
The Colonel and I are currently having a discussion about jellies at the jelly table.
Okay.
I'm introducing him to the many varied flavours of jellies. And this one is raspberry.
I do like some raspberry. Very beautiful colour, like your lips.
Oh! Wow, that's quite forward of you, sir.
I meant the colour of your, not your lips themselves. I mean, I meant the colouring specifically. The rest of the lips, not so much.
He just does not have a way with words.
I think I'm getting out of. I do believe I'm very.
Here, try the lemon.
Okay, lemon, beautiful, like your hair. The color of it, I mean, not the consistency. I'm sorry, just one moment, please. And he takes out a piece of paper which has the next thing he's supposed to say. I mean, good lady, would you like to care for
Colonel,
a dance?
May I briefly... I do dreadfully apologise for the interruption, but Colonel, may I have a quick sidebar?
Yes.
Thank you. Colonel, if I could have some advice for you.
Yes.
Talk less.
Talk less, smile more.
Talk less about the flavour of the jelly.
Yes.
In particular, when comparing it to the lady.
Huh. So you think less like a man, more like what?
Why don't you watch? I'll give you an example.
Sure.
Lady Cromwell,
Yes.
would you care for a dance?
Yes. It is the first dance of the evening.
It is the first dance of the evening, and I would be
Been
honoured.
with that girl.
I would be absolutely honoured to be the one to provide it to you.
As the band strikes up a non-identifiable tune, Captain Crawford sort of naturally, almost as a continuation of the conversation, sweeps Lady Cromwell onto the dance floor, leaving Colonel Thorpe. What's Colonel Thorpe thinking right now after seeing that?
Not that girl.
I imagine you didn't
I'm a bit peeved.
think that's what I meant by I'll show you.
Yeah. There are plenty of other girls at this party.
And what is Mrs. Rutherford doing?
Okay, I'm gonna go talk to myself, as in Gregory Cornwall.
Okay.
Well, Haley will be Gregory Cromwell.
Yeah.
Yes, I will. Lord Gregory Cromwell is mid-conversation with his son, and like, if you don't ask anybody, then of course they're not going to dance with you, son. It's the one thing you need to do to have a dance is to ask somebody. I'm sorry.
But father!
Oh,
I have 2 left feet!
oh, hold that moment. I see Mrs. Rutherford is approaching. She does have the second highest income in the whole of Hampshire.
Yes, the second. Is everyone like this in this family?
Everyone I play.
You haven't got your inheritance yet, Richard! Now go ask some girl to dance while I talk to Mrs. Rutherford.
Mary! Mary has better sense than that.
Mrs. Rutherford, it is so lovely of you to come.
Oh, thank you for inviting me, Lord Cornwall.
Well, of course. As my new role as head of this family, I make sure to it that everybody appropriate is invited to the occasions which I hold. Unlike my late brother.
Ah, yes.
I know we feel a similar way about him and the way he ran this household.
Yes, it was quite... Well, that's enough of that. Let's look towards the future.
Quite right.
And speaking of the future, the Lady Lydia, her marriage prospects, have you thought much about that? When Lady Lydia Cromwell arrived back here, I was angered, yet also elated. She is getting quite up there in age. Now that Thomas had passed away, Thomas being her father, my feelings of anger and wrath could be passed on to someone else.
And yet, there hasn't been a man among those I have seen that I feel merits the connection. Have you any suggestions?
Yes. Well, there is a man that I know that I have heard of.
Heard of? That's good.
It is a Colonel Jonathan Thorpe. Recently rich. I seem to have observed that he was trying to approach Lydia earlier, but was intercepted by Captain Crawford over there.
But it is true that Colonel Thorpe would be a much better more match. In fact, the barest minimum to be appropriate.
And it seemed that it had been Miss Allen who had introduced Captain Crawford over to Lydia.
Miss Allen.
Yes.
That is too much what you tell me, Mrs. Rutherford. That is simply too much.
Yes, it does seem that Miss Allen has quite an influence on Lady Lydia. Much more than is appropriate for someone of her upbringing. Oh, I apologize for causing this.
It is not your. It's not your concern. You have done nothing but been plainly helpful, Mrs. Rutherford. But it seems that I must take more action regarding the running of this household than even I had imagined.
Oh my gosh, so much drama.
Ah!
What did we talk about while we were dancing?
I would say
Were
that...
you regaling me with, like, war stories?
No, I was trying to get you to talk about the things that you were interested in so that I could show that I too was interested in those things with agreeable terms. And, oh yes, quite, I understand.
Yeah, okay, fair
Very
enough.
insightful.
I rather enjoy flower pressing as a hobby.
I have heard that the flowers that one can press are numerous. And frequently pleasant.
Perhaps you could see my collection sometime.
That would be an absolute delight.
I would like to find a bit later on in the evening when there's quiet patches. I assume that Miss Catherine Rutherford, do you want to be outside on the balcony maybe?
Yes.
For a change of scene?
Yes, I'm getting some air.
Yeah, and quite.
And Mary is dancing with Captain Crawford.
It's late in the evening. And I'm also going out for some fresh air and just sighing deeply. But then I see Catherine, and I guess in my sadness and unsureness of what to do, as per my living situation, and Lord Gregory Cromwell's been shooting daggers at me all night, and I'm not quite sure why, but it's been intensifying. And I'm pretty sure I didn't leave out any of the decorations or catering instructions that he mentioned, so I just sort of take a place next to you and just like look over quietly for a moment, gauge your response.
There is a beautiful garden that you can both
In
now.
the background. Soft glow of the garden
I
lights.
do not acknowledge your presence.
Ooh.
I didn't say hello.
Yep, I still don't acknowledge your presence.
She totally didn't acknowledge my presence, let alone our relationship. You don't have to acknowledge my presence. Maybe just for a minute? I'm just seeking some counsel. I should have known better.
Continue.
I'm not sure what to do next. I've been here in this house for most of my life, and I've seen people come and I've seen people leave. And now I think I'm the next one that is to leave this house, and I'm going to go into another one which I don't feel anything for.
But they are your family, are they not?
What does family mean?
A name,
It's relevant. A name?
a lineage.
So is blood important?
Yes, of course.
It's very nice of you to say that.
But reputation is also important. And I feel like you have outstayed your welcome in this household, and there has been talk. Well, you know how Lord Cromwell feels about you. That certainly does not reflect well on your reputation.
I find it difficult to understand his thinking and why he would be so set against my character.
Well, you have too much influence on his niece, and you are not part of their household. Is it not natural? Friendship has to be linked with status, and so does family. I feel that in your best interest, Miss Allen, it would be better for you to move in with your cousin.
Thank you for your counsel. As I'm telling him, like, and one last question.
Yes,
Did my father mean anything to you?
as I had stated earlier, friendship and all is tied in with reputation.
And I will walk into the ballroom.
The ball is a smashing success.
Naturally.
There are many dances.
Absolutely.
Between many ladies and many men. And as
I
the
had
night
my fair share
goes...
of dances too, surprisingly.
As Louisa?
Yep.
Who did you dance with? We're going to have a quick Gus sesh. Who did you dance with?
Well, I mean,
Point
in the
them out.
opening dance, we danced with lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, lover of horses, and
He doesn't-
that guy.
I don't really... I still
Did you
haven't
dance
learned-
with Peter Wellington?
Peter Wellington is here?
His palms were very sweaty. It's kind of endearing.
I don't think I did dance with Peter Wellington.
Oh. Well, then count yourself amongst the lucky ones.
Lord Cromwell approaches Lydia.
Lydia.
Uncle, have you seen Louisa? I think she's gone to bed already.
Well, yes, actually, about Louisa. Can we have a minute?
You can have as many minutes of my time as you please, Uncle.
Lydia, I'm worried.
Oh,
I feel Louisa has too much influence over you. For a young lady of no repute.
I can't imagine what brings you to say this to me. After all, Louisa and I have spent many years apart. And since coming back, I feel that Louisa and I's relationship is undoubtedly very equal, and neither of us have much influence on each other at all.
That is exactly the problem. She is not of equal standing to you. And yet she lives in this household and you talk as if you're equals. And was your first dance tonight not influenced by Miss Allen?
Louisa is she's like a sister to me, and therefore she's family to you.
But Miss Allen has her own family.
Louisa and I, we played together. We learnt everything about life and love and everything together. There is no one I consider a closer person in my life than Louisa Allen. And I could not imagine life without her. She is, since my parents sadly passed away, she is the closest, perhaps even the only family I have.
Dun, dun.
I'll give this to Lord Cromwell if Lord Cromwell just goes full authoritative and lays down the law.
Okay. Lydia, you have crossed the line with that. And because of this, I will see Louisa out of this house by next week, giving her time to pack up her things and tie up loose ends, but she will be leaving this household. You do not speak to me like that.
I'm sorry I may have spoken out of turn, but you are making a mistake, Uncle. And then I will turn and run away.
Good.
Alright, so the next thing is reputation. Who gained reputation in that scene and whose
Not
reputation
me.
decreased?
I think
Possibly me.
I think Louisa lost reputation.
Oh, everything bad happened to Louisa.
That's okay, I'm going to turn my fortunes around. It's the story of how I persevere.
Do you want to mark your reputation down? Unless anyone disagrees.
No.
For
Mostly
increase,
Cromwell.
probably my vote would be Captain Crawford.
Yeah, I think it was Crawford.
Crawford,
Sure.
go up. You are respected now. Well done.
Nice.
Somehow.
Somehow.
I know, I don't trust
Alright.
this guy at all.
So, when your reputation moves, something happens to your character as a consequence of that. So, Louisa, you have 3 options. You attract the attention of another of ill repute, and in this case, it would be your brother, Edward Allen.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
I I think the ill repute of my brother entering the story is a good option.
I think that's good. I think that works really well. I think we'll probably cover that in letters, right? For Frederick Crawford, your options are: another comes to you seeking advice, a false but flattering rumor spreads about you in town, or
Big feet.
Big hands.
Big horse.
you receive a gift from an anonymous benefactor.
I think I'll go with the gift.
What's
Okay.
the gift going to be?
I think it's got to be.
A new saddle.
Yeah, I think it's probably a new saddle for your horse. I like that. A
Okay.
very expensive one that is monogrammed with
Monogram.
FC.
Mm-hmm. Works for me.
So the next phase is the epistolary phase, where everyone gets to write a letter. You can write a letter either as your character or as the connection that you play, if you prefer, for whatever reason.
I have some ideas. I'll write it to my aunt on the other side, so the Duchess, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool.
And just like, giving her kind of a little update, like, since I came back to Habisha, like, everyone has been so kind and welcoming, and, there have been some minor hiccups, like, my uncle and I have had a minor disagreement about one of my friendships with the very dear Miss Allen, who I've mentioned before to you previously. There's also, like, some interest from some men in my life. Funnily enough, they're both army officers, so there's the colonel who's a little bit shy, I guess. But, my uncle seems to really favour him and has invited him round for dinner, and we, like, took a walk around the gardens, and he has, like, a surprising amount of botanical knowledge. He seems like a very, like, caring and timid man. And then there's the Captain Crawford, who is, much more like you'd imagine a sort of military man to be. He's sort of dashing. He rides his horse well. In fact, we've gone horse riding together. He took me to pick flowers, so I showed him my flower pressing collection. He bought me a ribbon. They both bought me ribbons. A growing collection of ribbons. Both of these men, it's the first time in my life I've had such attentions before, Aunt. I would really like your advice on how to make a good match out of either of these two people.
P.S. How do you store so many ribbons?
What a good ribbon solution. Your loving niece, Lydia.
To my dearest sister, Clara, I implore you to forgive your son, Peter, for the damage that he has done to your family. I can ascertain if you choose to do so, there will be much reward from my estate. I have found an interesting marriage prospect for Peter that I feel will be very beneficial for your family. And as you are my dearest sister, I do wish to see your family succeed and prosper. Love, your beloved Catherine.
I have one too.
Yep.
So the letter that I write is to Jonathan. Dear Jonathan.
Which one? Sorry.
Casper, my
Okay.
cousin. Dear Jonathan.
Let's clarify these things.
I've thought much about your proposal. I've mulled it over several nights. And I will take you up on it. It is time that I started taking my reputation and my life into my own hands. And so if you will have me, I will pack my things and will be shortly at yours hence.
Dearest Catherine,
Oh, dearest Catherine.
the many moons since I last saw you have been some of the hardest times I have experienced.
Oh my god.
However, I understand that what has happened must remain in the past. For I know how much you care about your reputation. Mrs. Rutherford and I had what could be described as an affair of the heart, being linked with me, particularly due to the timing and circumstances, would damage us both irreparably. I do come to you now, seeking aid. My circumstances are not as positive as they once were, and I do know that you have the ear of Lord Cromwell. I am currently courting the Lady Cromwell and ask for your aid or advice. Yours sincerely, Freddie.
How would you feel if I made your brother female?
Excellent.
Excellent. What's the female version of Edward?
Edwina.
Edwina.
Okay, this is a letter from Edwina Allen, formerly Edward Allen, changed to suit the circumstances of the game, to her younger sister, Miss Allen. Dearest Louisa, I know it has been some years since we have been together in the same location. I mean, after Father got so upset with me, I did leave for London, and, well, I had rather a good time there, although unexpectedly. But I write you now to not talk of the past, but of the future. Now, it so happened that I did meet somebody in London who was connected to somebody who was connected to somebody. Your best friend's Lord Cromwell. And I did sort of put in motion the very idea that perhaps I was the daughter of one of his old school friends. Not just any old school friend, but one that has gone on now to become a baronet. So I manufactured a letter from said school friend to Lord Cromwell, and what a response I got. He invited me into his house. So I shall soon be seeing you, Miss Allen.
Taking my bedroom, you mean?
Like, you move out, she moves in.
Now, of course, I cannot have it given away that we are sisters, but we can pretend to be friends. I am certain you will not give me away. Yours lovingly, Edwina.
I can't say I'm unhappy to receive this letter, but I can't say I'm
P.S.
happy
I
either.
hear he has a dishy son. By dishy, I mean Richie.
His nickname, in fact. I was wondering if I could use one of my abilities.
Of course.
Yes.
But what one did you want to use? Because we need to frame a scene next.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to use my quite indebted to have a person who can do some dirty work for me. During finishing school, there was a minor scandal in which Mary disappeared briefly overnight with with one of the teachers from the finishing school.
Oh.
Her sort of like retrieval and return was cleverly concealed by yours truly, thus saving her from a lifetime of shame and scandal and allowing her to reintegrate successfully back into society.
Excellent. I like it.
And I wanted Mary to pay attention to Mrs. Rutherford's thoughts and convey any that may be of interest to me and my family.
We'll just say that happened off screen, basically, like between the scenes. You had that conversation, so that next time you see each other, she'll be more likely to give you information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, it'll be kind of like the conversation goes something like, I see you are very close with Mrs. Rutherford these days. That's very interesting.
So the next scene, what do we want to do?
If we do a garden party thing, I was thinking it could also be like the town's foundation birthday.
That's cool. You know, you spoke again, so now I have to describe the scene again.
And how much time has passed, do we think?
Well, if you're out, then it has to have been a week has passed.
I think it's
at
more than that. I
least.
think it's been like a month.
Okay.
Is that too long for everyone?
No, I think a month is
Yeah,
bang
month,
on.
yeah.
Yeah. I think I've settled into the new household. I'm trying to get used to it. You haven't seen very much of me in that time.
So a month has passed, and today marks the somethingth anniversary of Habisha's
Oh, like
foundation.
700th.
This is like when the chapel was first built. So there's like a little kind of fair going on. There's also in the commons, there's people with picnics sitting around. Because we have a small river and lake, I assume there's some paddling around on boats and the like.
It's nice grassy bank leading to the water.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's all very like quaint and nice, and everyone is having a beautiful day, a really good day.
On my way to the fairgrounds, I'm taking my horse out for a ride that morning to get towards there. While we're there, I hear another soft crackling of grass behind me. I'm like, we need to stop meeting on horseback like this.
But it's clearly the easiest way to see eye to eye.
True. I want to use my ability to ask you. So, my ability, I live but to please. Your years of dependence on goodwill have made you exceedingly adept at reading the mood and intentions of others. You may ask a player what their major character feels about a particular subject or what they are about to do. They must answer honestly.
Okay.
So, while we're riding towards the fairground, I'm reflecting on the fact that I feel like we're actually friends. This is one of the first friendships I've struck up in a while. And I bring up the subject of Lydia. I see you got Lydia another ribbon. She's written about it and attached a little sample. It's even bigger than the last.
You should wait until you see the flowers I've brought. I think they would be excellent for pressing.
I see your flowers and your ribbons. Are you getting quite serious with Lydia?
By the way, you can ask that question out of character.
Okay. So
And you can ask any question you want out of character.
That is my question. Like, how are you going to propose to Lydia before the season's up is my question.
If I can get her uncle on side, I am going to propose. If I am unable to get her uncle on side, I am not going to, because I don't want to... I can't elope with her. I can't ruin everything that I've built to, like, run away with her, because I could not support her
We'll find someone for you.
without her family's support.
As your conversation is coming to a close, you see a woman with... Actually, what does Miss Allen look like?
She looks like an older version of me, but she's gone great lengths to disguise it. So she's used a lot more powder than is usually required, and
So do you both take after your father then?
yes.
Okay.
One reason why you would not necessarily at first notice a resemblance is that her face is like cheerful, bright,
Yeah.
always smiling, like everything is great all the time, and Miss Allen is always looks a bit concerned, even in the things are going well. So you
Caring
see,
for deathly ill people will do that to you.
yes, you would. You see a woman like holding onto her hat as she runs across the grass, as fast as she can in a very fine-looking dress.
Someone's lost.
Saying, "Oh, Miss Allen,
Miss
Jones,
Jones.
Miss Jones.
Miss Jones.
How have you? It's been such a long time since I've seen you."
It's been good. And I go in for a hug.
You descend from the horse.
Yes.
Hug from the horse.
Oh, you must introduce me to your charming companion. A military man. How do you do?
This is Miss Jones. She's a bosom friend of mine.
And how did the two of you meet?
Oh, well, when...
We were on horses.
Yes, well, Miss Allen's father did once attend to the horses in my very large estate.
You also like horses.
Oh, I love horses.
What's your favourite breed?
Oh, the tall ones. Yes, like yours.
Ah, yes, the tall horses.
Yes, the tall horses.
So you're one for riding then?
Oh, of course, naturally. I mean, we all ride, don't we? Don't we? Don't we?
Yes.
Can I please use a token
Yes.
to show up?
Okay.
To interrupt this scene.
I'll let you keep your token if you show up also on horseback, also with the colonel.
Oh no! On a different horse?
Oh, yes, on a different horse.
Yes, so I'll ride in
Mm-hmm.
on my new horse of... I don't know, I personally, as a player, know nothing about horses.
And you just looked at Miss Allen because the character
I
Veronica doesn't know anything about horses.
What do you know about horses?
Tall.
Only what Saddle Club taught me.
On a,
Purebred?
a very, a fresh,
Thoroughbred?
purebred,
Thoroughbred.
Yeah.
horse. It's, been a recent purchase that I, I feel like my uncle and I have been trying to make amends. So I was like, please, uncle, can I have a nice horse? And then he purchased this very nice horse.
You show up also with
The Colonel.
Colonel
Yeah.
Thorpe riding next
He's
to you.
got a very sensible horse. It's very strong.
As they're approaching from a distance, they look to actually be having quite a good time.
Right. Yeah, we've been talking about...
So if you just mix the mint and the nightshade, you will make a very potent
Balm.
balm. Poisonous though.
Do not ingest.
Fascinating. You have such expansive knowledge.
You
of
must
plants.
learn ointments and balms and what's the other one that you use? Poultices when you're in the military. It's very handy in extended campaigns where you don't get much medical support.
Indeed. And then, good day, friends.
Lady Cromwell, what an absolute pleasure.
Captain?
Colonel?
Yes, yes. And there's like a signal going well.
May I introduce, Colonel? Ms., yes?
Yes.
Ms. Jones, apparently from quite the estate back in... You never actually said where it was.
Oh, Lyme.
Back in Lyme.
Yes, near the sea. It's a lovely place to have an estate, don't you believe?
And she's
Very far from here, though.
apparently very, very good friends with Louisa. Have you... The two of you have surely met before, Lady Cromwell.
Well, Miss Jones has been very, very far away.
You do look very familiar.
Oh, yes, of course. You must have been in London.
I have very recently been in London.
That must have been
You're
it.
a fan of the theatre.
Oh, such a fan of the theatre.
It was probably the theatre.
Probably the theatre.
So I hop on the horse and I'm like, would you like to take a ride to our location, the location of the party and happenings today?
You did not bring one of your tall horses?
Well, it's a bit far for them to go from Lyme. They're a bit tall, you see.
Their stride isn't that... Clearly their stride is not that great.
Some say they're unusually tall.
Miss Jones,
Everyone
why
in the
don't you
party
get
is
on?
like, what?
Oh, what now?
I did know we were having a guest. I didn't realise it was going to be someone I already knew. What a lovely coincidence.
Well, there you go. I do think he rather intends to introduce me to Richard.
My cousin is a very charming young man.
Oh, young love blooming. Oh, what a great day.
Oh, yes, but I do so hate being thrown at these men. Someone of my wealth commonly finds this to be a problem.
On the topic of introductions, Lady Cromwell, I just
Yes, Captain.
wanted to introduce you to these flowers that I brought.
Whoa.
Oh,
They are exceptionally beautiful. I do love the purple.
Do it. Do something.
Wouldn't they
Where's the colonel?
press so well?
He's very okay. He's very as you're doing that, the colonel is sternly. Wait, no, the colonel's sternly pulls you up. He just like in his military voice barks. What would you normally call you?
Captain.
Captain.
Yes, Colonel?
Want them.
We have military business to attend to. I'm sorry, ladies.
Certainly.
We'll ride my horse, like cutting across and like picking up the flowers, and lead your horse away.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's nothing too serious. See you later.
Fist fight.
Nothing.
Fist fight.
I have
Nothing you have to worry about
a
here.
single petal left in my hand.
and then he turns around. I was like, that ribbon, by the way, looks beautiful on you.
Thank you, Colonel.
It's improving.
He's going to smack your face across with a bouquet.
Oh!
Colonel, what are you doing? I'm simply giving
Nope.
you yet more examples of how to
Not
interact
to my lady, you're not. I have wizened up to how this works.
I
A sneak attack, my boy. Never, ever appreciated.
am truly hurt. I am simply giving you more examples of ways in which one can behave to a charming young lady.
And frankly, Captain, it's just been going so well. I don't think I need any more examples from you. So, if this is going to go on, I'd say to leave the lady be. I think I can do this on my own.
Okay.
In fact, stay far, far away.
Colonel, I will stop trying to help you, if you insist.
And then he's gonna like this is like puts the flowers in like
Where the
saber
saber
goes.
goes.
That's amazing. Oh my god, let's actually get to the fair.
Yes.
Alright.
We're now at the fair.
Lydia. Lady Lydia.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
This is Rutherford. You look positively...
Why, thank you, dear. Have you met my nephew, Mr. Peter Wellington? Peter Wellington is my nephew, on my sister's side.
Is he right there?
Yes, he is right now.
For everyone's reference, Peter Wellington is played by Caleb.
He has been disinherited by his parents due to a more frivolous youth that he had while he was away at university studying.
Hello, lady. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you.
I don't believe I have had the pleasure before in my life.
Sidebar, his hand is very sweaty.
It's so sweaty.
It's just as described.
as sweaty as your hand, Kaylin.
Yes.
Can I use my favorite nephew to, push Peter? My favorite nephew. Convince a close relative to perform a favor of your choosing by offering to bequeath on them part of your estate. You won't need it when you're dead.
Oh!
So let's flash to this scene. Yesterday, in the house of Mrs. Rutherford, Peter arrives without knowing quite why.
Aunt, you called for me.
Yes, Peter. It has been quite a while, hasn't it?
It has. I've missed you tremendously.
Yes. Well, I have a favor to ask of you. There is an eligible young lady, by the name of Lady Lydia Cromwell, and I'm quite a good friend of her uncle's, and it worries me that she may be marrying under herself, as she has taken interest in a military man who, by his own admission, has not been doing quite fortunately lately. And I think it would be most beneficial for both your family and hers if you were to get to marry. And if you would do this favor for me, by approaching her and courting her, I am willing to leave you some of my estate. And I'm unsure if your mother has told you, but I have written in your favor to her to reinstate your inheritance as well.
I would like to use my monologue token on Mrs. Catherine Rutherford to discover what on earth she's doing.
Captain Frederick Crawford had written to me to speak to Lord Cromwell in his favour, but I cannot in good conscience do that due to both my exceeding thirst for revenge
Say it plainly.
against Lady Cromwell due to her father's rejection of me when we were younger, and also for my lingering feelings for the captain as well, that I would rather he be betrothed to my protege, whom I see as myself in many ways. My nephew, Peter Wellington, is practically destitute at this point in time. In words and name alone, he is part of our family. Eventually, I'm sure that his parents will turn against him at some point, and they will be left with nothing if she were to marry him.
You look... Your eyes remind me of my absolute favourite lime jelly. They're so green and moist.
You see, Peter here is a scholar of sorts. He is quite clever, and he has... Well, I think the two of you meeting would be quite beneficial.
Well, we have now met.
Yes, it's been a delight.
Yes. My parents' sins are not mine, no matter how much Mrs. Rutherford wishes she could take out what was done to her upon me. And what are you a scholar of?
I am a scholar of many things, mostly natural philosophy.
How interesting. In fact, Colonel, I believe you were also interested in peering into a microscope to discover the formation of the so-called cells of the plant. I feel that the two of you meeting would also be beneficial for your both intellectual minds.
I'm gonna use...
My boy,
my
let me tell you about what it means to be a man. I want to use my ability,
Yes.
Never You Mind Me, which manipulates others' feelings. Once per session, use this tactic to change the feelings of a minor character towards me. So I would like to make Peter Wellington fall madly in love with me.
Oh, yes!
I
Okay.
will rescue him from the Colonel Thorpe,
Okay.
who's presently dragging him away.
Oh. Right.
Peter, aren't you relieved? You looked very uncomfortable.
I'm sorry, have we met?
I think once before we danced. You
Oh.
might not have remembered me. There were many other ladies in that dance at the ball.
No, I would have remembered dancing with you.
So do you? I recall your palms were quite sweaty. That's okay.
No,
It's a hot day.
I'm sorry. But you, the blue dress?
Yes.
In your riding clothes and with your hair down, I hardly recognize. Yes. How can I be of service?
Service? We're just having a pleasant conversation.
Yes, it is.
Did you want to see some of the garden party?
Yes.
Sorry, can I use the wisdom of elders to humiliate Louisa?
Whoa!
Are you interrupting their conversation?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh
There's
my
a whole
goodness.
bunch of stalls set up. We can take a look at them. Look, that reads
Miss Allen!
palm reader.
What do you think you are doing? And did you
Miss
introduce
Rutherford?
yourself to this gentleman without being introduced?
Aunt, no, we have definitely met before. We danced. She was the one in the blue dress.
Yes, and back then, who was it that introduced the two of you?
What's your ability, by the way? Is it
Use the authority of Agent Well to succeed at publicly censoring another character.
Okay.
The extent of this reproach and the level of humiliation may causes up to you.
If you want to bring Lord Cromwell into the scene as well to add to it, like, you can totally do that.
I am definitely going to do that.
Okay.
Lord Cromwell, this is exactly what I mean when Miss Allen has too much influence over the young lady.
Miss Allen, I think it's best that you leave.
It was the most mortifying moment of my life.
This is very public, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I don't know
very
where I
well
am
so.
right now. I'm trying to figure that
You would
out.
have heard the yelling.
Okay.
I'm not
Thank you.
speak plainly with what you mean. I'm not truly sure I understand the offense I have caused at this present moment.
How much more plain can I be?
Much more. Say it so even my horse understands.
Go away.
Uncle, you cannot speak to someone like that.
Why is that?
It is improper and you are making a scene.
It is Miss Allen who is making a scene. If she would simply leave, things would be much more quiet and better for our family.
I think you'll find the first person who spoke loudly was in fact Miss Rutherford.
I've had enough of this back chat from you. Ever since you've returned from finishing school, you've been less finished than you were before you went to finishing school.
I am in fact a very finished woman. Thank you very much.
May I remind you that you have no estate. You have no wealth of your own. You are dependent on me. So what are you going to do?
I'm gonna back down from this conversation and shut
Lydia,
up.
you're not, it's okay. This doesn't really concern you. And then I will say, good day, Peter, and then turn around. Walk away. But as I walk past Catherine, I will just look in confusion and say, what did I do now?
Wow.
That was entirely unnecessary. We were just having a pleasant conversation.
Peter, have you forgotten our conversation?
No, I haven't. However, it's unbecoming, is all I will say.
And all I will say is, it is within your best interest to stay away from that girl.
I'd like to use my Oh Darling, What a Surprise ability, which allows me to appear in a situation suddenly and with no explanation. It's almost as if I'd planned it ahead of time. Almost.
When you show up, I immediately say, looking at my uncle, I'm like, Captain, thank goodness you're here. I'm afraid I never received those flowers you had for me before. Shall we go look for some more?
That would be an absolute pleasure. If, however, I may take a quick aside with your uncle, I just had some words that I had to privately ask him.
I don't know that that's a good time.
Just bear with me. Because I would like to use my other ability
Good.
on Lord Cromwell, called the Local Scandal. I'm going to spread a secret or rumour not widely known to instantly gain the trust and confidence of another. The secret or rumour must be true. Now, can I create this secret or rumour?
Yes, but again, you have to use a resolve token if it negatively...
Well, it'll be about the Colonel. Because, there are rumours of past misdemeanours.
Yes.
I'm going to bring those up. In particular, I just want to talk with him about the fact that the Colonel is a very good man. And it's all going to be very well-intentioned from my side. I'm simply helping. But these rumours have trailed him everywhere he goes and will eventually connect to everyone who he's connected to. And if he were to marry into this family, they may then spread onto the family. And I want him to know that I only have the concerns for his family name at heart here. It's definitely not to favour me.
I think he's quite angry right now, so I think at the time he doesn't seem to believe you, but then later he'll go and do his own research and find out that it's all true. Anyone got anything else they want to do?
Only just us picking flowers and maybe having a conversation about the future of our relationship.
Yes. Here you go.
Me?
No!
It has come to my attention in my search for eligible bachelors that in fact perhaps I am a very eligible bachelorette. And since my return to the town of Habisher, have possibly caused quite a stir. There seem to be many people that are interested in me in both a romantic sense and possibly also a negative sense. And it is not my intention at all to leave a trail of broken hearts behind me. And that includes my uncle. I feel that our relationship has fallen apart, but I know that at heart he is a good, kind, and loving man. And I don't understand his recent actions. And I want the match I make for a future marriage to be one that he can support so that we don't have an entire falling out. But I also find that I would like to marry for love, as well as for my family's sake.
So I have one conversation to say to you. I would like to say something like, did you need to cast me aside from Peter? Is even your relations protected by this reputation that you don't want me so close to him? He's practically my cousin. He is my cousin.
Miss Allen, there are things in this world that someone of your status may not understand. And have a good day. Miss Louisa Allen, though I acknowledge that she is my daughter, I had her sent away while she was still an infant.
Can I give this to you for you to reconsider why you were so defensive about it? Consider how you think of family. What does family mean to you? So that's what the token is.
No, because even as my child, you're just a chess piece on this board. Looking at her now as a grown woman, I have no particular feelings. It is as if looking at a stranger.
I'm the only one who's touched your heart.
Yes.
And then I dashed it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
This is what you hear from Mary.
Great.
Oh, Lady Crawford, it was so hard to get away from me.
My name is Lady Cromwell, actually.
Oh, Cromwell. I'm sorry. I sympathize you so much. It's very difficult to speak. I only have
Let me summon some...
No. I only have a very quick moment. Quiet. Now, quiet. Yes. Right. So, Mrs. Rutherford is trying to set you up with Peter. Because she thinks you won't like him. And also, he's been disinherited by his family.
Peter's been disinherited by the family?
Yes, he's been disinherited by his family. And she thinks if you marry, then you'll have nothing. And she seems very pleased about that. I'm not really sure why.
I'm not asking you to think.
No. At any rate, and yes.
Any other machinations?
That's the main one. Also, she's been very big in the ear of Lord Cromwell about the whole thing.
Why is she so unpleasant towards Louisa?
Louisa smells a little bit like horses. Have you noticed? All the time. She always smells like them.
Yes, well, she's around them quite a bit.
Yes, do you think that's not unbecoming?
I think I can think of more unbecoming things, Mary.
Really?
Yes, like overnight stays and travels to...
I'm doing what you've asked me, am I not?
I'm not asking you to make judgments on my best friends, then.
All right. Well, I've got to go, back to Mrs. Rutherford. I've done what I promised.
I don't know that your debt is cleared just yet, Mary.
Fine. I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. I really like this look on you, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Bye.
So I think from that last scene, I'm pretty sure it's Mrs. Rutherford that lost a little bit of reputation.
I think
Well,
her outburst.
Yeah.
Yeah,
is
in
really,
public.
yeah.
Yes.
Even though for some reason it wasn't her who ended up with like the worst consequences.
But I feel like it's actually Miss Allen might have gained reputation for like so quietly.
She held her own.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think so, because the takeaway was that the people who were acting the way they were to you, even though they were higher status than you, had no reason to do so, and they were behaving untoward.
Right.
And you...
Took it on the chin.
Yes, took it
Yeah.
on the chin. That's
Alright,
quite
cool.
right.
Alright.
I will mark that on my sheet.
Good. Okay, letters. Who's first?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
My dearest Thomas, very good of you to die before I could actually do anything. But I hope you're watching over your dearest daughter Lydia and enjoying how everything is crumbling around her with Miss Allen gone and all of these suitors coming after her from your dearest Catherine.
I would like to write a letter from Peter Wellington.
Can you do that?
Yes, you can. You can write a letter from a connection you control.
Yes. To my dear aunt. My dearest aunt. As per our previous conversation, and then
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes, Peter.
I have found some letters.
Yes, and what may those be?
I have found some letters from a Mr. Allen. I now have reason to believe your reasons for your treatment of Miss Allen have not entirely been forward. I know who she is, Aunt.
Alright. And what do you wish to do with this information, Peter?
I love her. I want you to support this.
So you are rejecting the terms of our previous conversation in regards to the lady, Cromwell?
I am. But if you support me in this, these letters will never see the light of day. As per our discussion,
Yes.
I look forward to the party which you are hosting. I will see you there, your dearest nephew.
Dear Lydia, it has been several weeks since we last spoke, and I think you're right. Letters are the way to continue this friendship. Things are much more peaceful this way. This friendship is so important to me, but it's been really lovely to hear of how your suitors and crossed out, love relationshiping has been going. In fact, I have some news of my own. Do you remember Peter Wellington? Of the famously sweaty hands. Well, he's become quite serious about me of late. And though he's quite bumbling, he does have quite a sharp intellect, and I do see myself quite happy with him. Peter is gentle and awkward, and he is comfortable to be around. It's not very often you get to be very comfortable around people. Living with the Casper household has been great. In fact, I seem to be doing quite well with the children. Good news for the future. Love, Louisa.
Dearest Louisa. Well,
Bloody Edwina.
I just wanted to tell you how smashingly things are going with Richard. Lord Cromwell is simply enamoured with me and Richard. Well, he has to go along, doesn't he? He doesn't really have any choice in the matter. Lord Cromwell has told me that we are to be presently engaged. I hope Richard will tell me from his lips, but I'm not too bothered if it doesn't happen. There is just one thing, though. I did take out something the other day, something that I sometimes look at. It is a picture of our parents. Sometimes it helps me to remind myself of who I am. While I was looking at such, Lady Cromwell came into the room and saw me. I think she has a reason to suspect our relationship. We had met before, and at that time, well, I was using the name of Miss Allen. As long as she doesn't tell her uncle, though, Richard and I should be engaged in just 2 weeks. Oh, I'm so very excited. Think of it. Money, more money than our father could even have looked at. And of course, I'll help you out. And I've heard all about you and Peter. I'm sure you could use something as a wedding present. Ah, your sister.
Dear uncle. By that, I mean my uncle, who is also a Duke.
Dear Duke Uncle.
Dearest uncle, it was so lovely to hear from you and my aunt recently. I am beginning to rather enjoy the exchange of letters, and my penmanship has much improved. I hate to put such pressure on our friendship, but I have but a favour to ask. My uncle has become quite unpleasant of late, and if you would have a word with him, I know that you are not related, but you know each other and have spent time together in the past. His treatment of my friend Louisa, whom I recently visited, and his treatment towards my potential engagements has become nigh unbearable. And I ask you to ask him just to lighten up a little bit. Fondest regards. Hope to see you in person soon. Perhaps you can come for a visit. Lots of love, Lydia.
Okay, so
I feel like that's
that's
what the
great.
conversation we
It's
would have.
Peter and Miss Allen's engagement party. So then that means that it falls on one of the happy couple to describe the scene.
The engagement is at the Rutherford household, which is quite an austere environment. But someone's like actually gone through and opened all the windows to let some
Draw
light
the
and air in, drawn up the curtain. So it's actually a lot happier than it used to be. Though maybe it's the feeling that like maybe it always was a happy, bright place.
Do we want to start the scene with Louisa's monologue?
I was always so concerned my entire life about what is family. I never felt stable about who I was, and I kept chasing myself in others, and surprisingly, I've realized that it's so easy. Family is just acknowledgement. I've never been happier amongst these people, Jonathan and his family, but I guess they're just not people. They're not just people. Their family. And now with Peter, he's quite ardent, isn't he? I think I will also be happy as family with him, and even more than that, I'm surprised with Catherine too, and that she's been able to throw this engagement party, but at all. I guess that's some sort of acknowledgement too, little as it is, but I think for her it's been a big step. Me and Peter are receiving people and saying thank you for your gifts. Please come in, blah blah blah.
Oh, Miss Allen, says your sister, I bought you such a lovely necklace.
Edwina. Oh, thank you.
Are you with our family, by the way? Like,
Oh, yeah. I'm
Alright.
with Richard and all the time.
all right. I'm just behind, like waving excitedly at you.
Lovely to
Actually,
see you.
Richard bought it, but it's from me.
Thank you. I understand you are also... Is it public yet? Never mind. But it's been lovely to see you, and I wish you very much the happiness. Those two are made for each other. I say to you as like when you come,
Yeah.
when you come next.
I'm like, you know, like gushing for you, super excited. But I want to like say something about Edwina. Like, she really is just quite a lot.
Always has, ever since we were babies in the crib.
Yes, well, when I thought I was getting a new sister, I didn't really think it would be her.
Neither did I.
I think we exchanged like a meaningful glance
Yeah.
of like understanding, but also like I'm like
Yeah.
gonna keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Like I would never do anything
Yeah.
to jeopardize Louise's future. I don't think she had any real ill intentions towards my cousin or my family. Merely self-centered intentions towards our money. I suppose I'm fine with the match.
I'm going to arrive wearing my cross for conspicuous gallantry
Ah.
that had, in the past week, been awarded to me for my actions in the latest military engagement that I'd been in just prior to arriving. So the speech which I had given has now been printed in the newspaper.
Have you
And-
brought a clipping of the
I
newspaper?
have not brought a clipping. I have
I have
the
a
medal.
clipping of the newspaper.
But it means people well and truly know that I have now been awarded a medal for conspicuous gallantry.
Very conspicuous. And as Lord Cromwell sees you, he pats you on the shoulder and is like, "Ah, Captain Crawford.
Ah, Lord Cromwell, it's an absolute pleasure, as always.
As always, of course, hasn't it always been so?"
Catherine, may I have a word?
Certainly. What did you want to speak about?
I intend to propose today. But before I do, I need you to know everything that we had did mean a lot to me. But you did make it very clear that there was no way we could ever have anything more because of the damage it would do to your reputation, to my reputation. There will always be a place for you in my heart.
And what does that mean?
It means I hope we can continue to be very good friends.
Frederick, you're very dear to me. But if you marry that girl, there is nothing between us or our households.
Hey!
Catherine Rutherford was my first love. I know it is unconventional, but I began to have feelings for her from when I was 14, and when I was 21, we actually were an item for a time. Her husband was away on business, as he was wont to do. But she made it very clear to me that her reputation was more important than what we had. And I was willing to accept that limit then. But if I had to give up on my first love, I'm not going to give up on my true love. Farewell, Catherine.
Goodbye, Frederick.
I would like
Yes.
the Colonel to speak to my uncle, Lord Cromwell, to ask for Lady Cromwell's hand in marriage.
Why are you paying a token for that? Isn't it bad for you?
And be turned down?
For the drama.
So to get to the point, after the second ribbon and the third the point is, I think I'm a man who has a lot monetarily, militarily, career-wise to give to Lady Lydia Cromwell. So I intend to ask for her hand in... I mean, I am asking for her hand in marriage.
Say no more, Colonel.
Yes. That was a yes?
Lord Cromwell, may I have that word now that you promised?
Oh, certainly.
Frederick!
Give me a moment.
And I'm going to take us aside so that
Yeah.
the Colonel cannot
He
actually...
lights up a
Yeah.
cigar.
Lord Cromwell, I am a military man, and as a military man, I do believe that one must do everything the proper way, and in the proper order. And as such, it is only right that you, as the head of the household, be the one for whom I ask for Lady Cromwell's hand in marriage.
My boy, you have put me in a difficult position, but following our conversation from last time, where you did mention the unsavory rumors surrounding your good friend Colonel Thorpe, I do believe that you are the best option that we have for Lydia. However, unfortunately, due to Miss Rutherford's recommendation, which I presume came with the research upon these rumors, and due to me, my previous agreement with the Colonel, I have already given her hand to Colonel Thorpe.
I will give this to you, Captain Crawford, if you go to the Colonel and say, Colonel, let's let the lady decide.
I will take that. I understand. May I have a word with the Colonel?
All yours.
Yes, Captain?
I have heard that you have asked for Lydia's hand in marriage.
Plainly, yes, that is true.
I need you to know that I do entirely respect you as my commanding officer. However, marriage is a thing of love. And unknowingly, I have also asked for her hand in marriage.
What?
And frankly, I think this is a situation that we should let Lydia herself decide.
Of course.
Of
As
course.
military men, I think that would be right. Let's wager it on the choice of the lady. And I will respect whatever decision she makes.
And so will I.
Let's do the Louisa. Do you want to do this one first or the Louisa?
Louisa.
Yeah, because I feel like...
So we've gone out to the balcony for some fresh air.
Yeah.
It's, the garden is it dusk time or in the morning? It's a daytime thing.
It's a daytime
So
thing.
then there's a nice, the garden is looking fresh, and smelling beautifully, and I'm there first. So you walk out, and I'm already there.
Oh, Miss Allen, are you not enjoying the party?
I'm kidding, I will acknowledge your presence. It's been a strange few months, hasn't it?
Quite. You have moved around quite a bit and will move again. I see.
So I smile and say, thank you. I don't think I've actually said thank you yet.
Oh, there's nothing to thank me for.
You're right, there were many years of not thanking, but, you know.
Well, even if I cannot officially acknowledge you as... Well, acknowledge your relationship to me as a member of the family, I can now officially welcome you into the family as my niece.
Oh, thank you.
It's kind of sad but happy.
Yeah. You know, as you have said, it has been quite a turbulent few months, and over this course of time, I have come to realize that we must hold on to what we have. Destroy.
And then we both turn and look through into the window, and the pans through the window. You can see
This conversation
Lydia
happening.
and Frederick. This conversation. And then I will just
Lydia.
put my arm around Catherine.
Yes, Captain.
Except now you're Colonel Thorpe.
Sorry, I was distracted for a moment there, but I'm here.
It was like I was in another life.
Could you please settle an argument that the Colonel and I are having?
Well, the discussion was merely
Merely?
about
About?
your courting, Lydia, of me.
And myself. More to the point, I asked your uncle for your hand in marriage.
After me. I was
Unknowing
first.
You asked my
That
uncle
the
for my hand
Colonel-
in marriage?
had asked for your hand too. As such, we have decided that really the person whose heart ought to decide is not your uncle's, but your own. And if you were to choose the Colonel, I would of course understand. But if you were to choose me, the Colonel would retract his proposal. And we would
I
be
would
free
also
to wait.
understand. Yes. We've had many, yes,
Really?
discussion. No, don't put me on the spot like this.
Sorry.
I wish you to choose, is what I'm saying.
Colonel,
Yes.
you know that very recently I lost my father.
Yes. Tragedy.
Indeed. And since your appearance in my life, I have found you to be much of a very fatherly influence. And you have taught me very many things, and I have greatly enjoyed our time together. But I do not know if I could see you as a husband.
Oh. Oh. Well, oh. I understand.
Please tell me that this decision would not affect your relationship with the captain at all. That would truly break my heart.
Well. The gallant and courageous and efficient, capable man that Frederick is, well, even I couldn't stand in the way of his career, so should have listened to Jonathan. Just jab at it and you'll get there in the end.
Thank you, Colonel. And then I give
No
him
good at these.
I give him a quick kiss on the cheek.
No good at these words.
And then I take Frederick's hands.
Lydia.
I see we have both put our hands near each other.
My hands are very sweaty.
So are mine. And I say, Frederick, I have never felt the feelings of love that I feel for you, for anyone, before.
Lydia Crawford, would you do me the greatest honour by becoming my wife?
Yes, but first, I really do need to apologise to Louisa for upstaging her beautiful engagement party by once again making her entire life all about me.
I understand. I will go speak to your uncle.
And then, I don't know if we're allowed to kiss.
Not right
No.
now.
Okay. Then we definitely don't kiss.
Stare into each other's eyes as the camera
Meaningly.
pans out.
Yes.
Yeah. And away.
And then the credits start rolling as we overlook the gardens.
Right, let's do the epilogue, which is also in the form of letters.
My dearest aunt, thank you ever so much for attending with my uncle the Duke to my wedding. It was a splendiferous affair, and there was much joy at the occasion. Having finished finishing school, it was my intention to return to Habasha and not only to become engaged, but also married. In fact, I think I even made such a grand statement that I may even receive 2 proposals from 2 individuals, and then, in fact, marry one and discreetly farewell the other. That was a little bit of a fancy, but
It exactly
it
turned
has
out
happened
that way.
exactly like that. Isn't the world so funny? Thank you ever so kindly for the gift of those beautiful plates. I can't wait to use them. The king's face looks very handsome on them. Lots of love. Your dearest niece, Mrs. Lydia Crawford.
To Viscount Lucas.
Who?
I understand that I owe you a substantial amount of money. However, I feel I am now in a position to repay your kindness through the connections that I have from the love of my life, niece, to the Duke. And I hope you will, at least, if you decide this is not a way for me to repay my debts, give me a little bit of time for me to actually get you your coin.
What was your objective?
Come into substantial wealth while ensuring my reputation stays absolutely impeccable. But
He
that
truly
could
loved
have
you.
really just easily have been obtained through marrying the person who actually has a lot of money instead of is tangentially connected.
Who has a lot
But I
of
fell
money?
in love. Mary
She's
Birmingham.
Animal.
Ah.
Dear Catherine, I know I've said this to you, but I just wanted to say again how thankful I am for now becoming part of your family. Yours always, your niece. What's my name? Louis. Wellington. My last name. I almost, my objective was actually to convince my parent to accept me as their legitimate child.
Close
but that's
enough,
close
though,
enough,
yeah.
I think.
It's like in a way that they could
Yeah.
socially do it.
Mm.
My dearest Thomas, I'm writing to you again. Are you watching? As you can see, I have failed in pulling Captain Crawford and your daughter away from each other. What I had always wanted to do was to find the thing that you, and by extension her, had loved most, and to take it away. Now that Louisa is officially a part of my family, I, as the matriarch, hold power over one of your daughter's dearest friends, and also someone whom you had once also considered a daughter before your unfortunate passing. I hope you continue to watch as the future unfolds. Your once beloved Catherine.
Yeah.